The GTA series has had plenty of spin-offs and stories to help expand the universe and narratives that Rockstar's created before. And they've since inspired many within the modding community to create their own stories versions of these titles. With mods that I've covered in the past like Frosted Winter, Sindako Chronicles, or San Andreas Stories, these mods have allowed their creators to keep expanding the universe in their own unique ways, while still keeping things grounded within the confines of the franchise's unique lore. And the devs over at Nocturne Team are looking to incorporate their own spin on a stories-like spin-off, and are working on a couple of projects that are expanding the world of GTA Vice City even more. With their latest title acting as a stories game in a way, by playing as that assassin shadowing as a line cook that we kill very early on in GTA Vice City, with the appropriately titled GTA Leo Teal's Story. The mod follows the late Leo Teal, as he moves to Vice City for work given by the mysterious Mr. Black, who tells him to take a taxi parked outside of the airport and meet someone at a location that he's going to be dropped off at. The guy we end up meeting is Eugene, who Leo ends up working for over at his Italian restaurant on Vice Beach. But soon after working some shifts, Eugene runs into Leo and asks him for a favor, and says he's going to pay him double his day's pay just to help him out. With Leo reluctantly agreeing, it sends him spiraling into the criminal underworld of Vice City, centering around assassination missions and the growing drug trade in town, slowly setting up the events of the game that this mod is based on. And just like other stories and episodes released in the GTA series, there are just enough changes to the sandbox within Vice City while still keeping things fresh throughout the entire experience. Like some of the new whips you'll see driving around town made in-house by some of Nocturne Team, with one of my new favorite additions being the Dominator. With its sleek design and convertible hood, you'll be driving around Vice Beach in style. Or there's the Cuban Stallion, which is pretty much the Diablo Stallion from GTA 3, but it fits nicely here within the Cuban vehicle lineup. Then you have things like the Club, which is GTA's version of the VW Golf, or if you're a fan of the Oceanic from the base game like me, there's also a limo version included here in the mod. And a few others that I'll let you discover as well during your time back in Vice City, as to not spoil every single surprise here. Because if you end up going and exploring Vice City, you'll also find that there's plenty of new challenges and collectibles, and even mini games that Leo can stumble into. Like many of the vehicle challenges littered around the map, much like the base game, but are more challenging here, or the cooking minigame at Leo's day job. And there's even new hidden packages found all around the map, which are these little voodoo dolls of Leo. But there's one side mission that I happened to look over during my first playthrough, which was the arcade game located at the FBI building, called Arcade 2001. Where you play as a character resembling Claude and have to survive multiple stages that get progressively harder as you go, complete with a boss fight at the end. And this minigame reminded me a lot of the Smash TV-esque side mission from Liberty City Stories, appropriately called Slash TV, with us having an overhead camera while we have to survive hordes of enemies. And it wouldn't be a proper DLC-like mod without having an entire new roster of music for us to listen to. With a ton of great tracks that fit the Vice City vibe incredibly well, I'd honestly put this soundtrack up there with both Vice City and Vice City Stories, because these songs just fit so naturally on each station. And since we're on the subject of audio, this mod also uses AI voices for all the characters in the mod. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you pretty much know my opinion around AI voices. But thankfully you can disable AI voices right at the start of the game if you don't want them on. One of the things I feel this mod does pretty well overall is the mission design throughout the story. One of my biggest complaints with some of these mods that try to tell their own story within the GTA universe is how lackluster some of the mission design for those can be, especially when filling out an entire story that takes hours to complete. But Leo's story is just short enough that it has some of the more memorable missions that I've played when it comes to these fan-made side stories.
Fucking Haitians are here!
With Leo working for Mr. Black over the payphone and Eugene for the first bit of the game, There are some basic introductory missions, which admittedly are a bit overdone at this point, especially after playing so many of these types of missions just from the base GTA games themselves. I really don't feel like they're necessary with these types of mods. Like, I feel like pretty much everyone knows where the ammunition and pay and spray are at this point. But after that, the more you dive into the rest of the story, the higher the stakes get, and the pedal stays pushed to the metal the entire way to the end of the track. And a lot of these missions do a really good job of tying together events that lead to the beginning of Vice City. Like with one of our missions we complete for Mr. Black, we have to clear out an entire construction site full of gang members for one of their unnamed clients, with a crazy shootout throughout the entire base. And it ends with a climactic boss fight with an opposing chopper. This same construction site ends up being the same exact one where we meet Avery later as Tommy in the base game.
Come in and park yourself on the hide, son.
Or eventually, we'll start helping out Umberto and Rico from the local Cuban gang in town, setting up their early dominance in the city before Tommy ever showed up.
Leo, I'm proud of you, man. You got really big cojones, amigo.
But everyone's missions felt unique and weren't just some carbon copy of a mission from the base game, or just clearing enemies at different locations. There's at least a variety to those types of missions and how you go about them. But it also has a good mix of other missions like scarometer missions, scouting out locations, and other things like that, to where it doesn't feel like every mission feels the same, and I appreciate that. And despite these missions not resembling anything from the base game, I did notice a few of these bear some resemblance to mission design that I've seen in another mod. Granted, it probably wasn't intentional, but I still would like to point it out. Like the one I mentioned a moment ago at the construction site with that chopper mini-boss, it felt almost directly influenced by a mission that went down very similarly in Big Mission Pack, about halfway through the mod. Or this one where you protect the Irish Mafia from the Haitians that show up, but back in Big Mission Pack, there was a mission just like this, except in that one you were protecting the sharks from the Haitians in the same location. I don't know, could be coincidental that these mission structures are alike for just a few of these missions, but if anything, Big Mission Pack is a fantastic mod to take inspiration from, since the mission design in that mod was stellar compared to most, which I highly recommend checking out that mod if you haven't already. Video will be tagged here if you want to check it out. This mod is also filled to the brim with Easter eggs to find throughout the entire experience, with the mission complete sting itself being a snippet of Woke Up This Morning by Alabama 3, famously known as the theme song from The Sopranos. Or there's the Pizza Time theme from the OG Spider-Man 2 for the cooking minigame, which definitely hit those Italiano vibes pretty well. Or later in the mod, during the appropriately titled Scarface mission, where we go to meet up with some dealers with some other mercs, Pedro and Michael, at one of the local apartments in town. And while we're there, we see an almost exact copy of the bathroom scene from the movie Scarface, except, of course, playing out in Vice City's engine.
Holy moly.
Well, gonna screw me now, huh? Now you fat motherfucker.
Holy shit! I got the coke. Let's get out of here.
That's from Michael, asshole.
Or by completing that arcade minigame I mentioned earlier, you can unlock Claude's outfit for Leo to rock as his new fit throughout the game. But I don't want to reveal all of the Easter eggs here, since there's a good mix of them to spot throughout the mod. But it's not like it's just filled to the brim with Easter eggs. There's just enough here to show love to the rest of the franchise and things that have inspired it. Also, if you made it this far in the video, please leave a like and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. Alright, now let's talk about this mod story. With Leo being an assassin sent over from Italy into the crime-ridden streets of Vice City, Leo has this eager outlook on the events that play out around him, and he's ready to take on pretty much any job that he's presented with. And on top of that, he's also ready to put people in the ground and willing to take out any target that he's assigned to by his employer, and eventually helps his boss Eugene with a little side gig from his restaurant business, joining the Vice City drug trade, which sees us running into a variety of characters along the way, like Moesha, a worker who decides to give it all up with our help by having us take out her pimp and his entire business, eventually getting her out of town once things go too far. Or later in this mod, we start helping out Umberto Rubino from the local Cuban gang in town, and one of his henchmen, Rico, who we become friends with. And throughout the story, you're going to take a ton of assassination missions from Mr. Black over the payphones around town, eventually leading into Leo meeting a team of mercenaries through Mr. Black that we end up working with towards the late game. And if you recognize these outfits, you probably know where things are going. We get to witness the lead up and fallout of the events of the failed drug deal that sets up Vice City to begin with, which happens to be the final mission of this game. But everything in between gets a bit more insight into the drug trade at the time, just before the events of the main game. And if you've ever played Vice City, you pretty much know Leo's fate, which also plays out at the end, after we end up interrupting the drug deal and go through an insane car chase throughout downtown Vice City. And because Leo went so off script from helping out Mr. Black and his employers, they reach out to Eugene and end up telling him that they're going to start clearing up loose ends. So Eugene sells out Leo to Lance, and eventually that leads back to Tommy, which Tommy, of course, ends up doing Leo in. And that's pretty much where the game ends. But you can still continue to play the game afterwards as Pedro, so you can still explore the city from that point. And there's a very short tease of Nocturne Team's upcoming project with Shark's Vengeance. But that's pretty much it. But wait. What if there was a way that we could alter the events of the game and create some sort of time paradox?
Snake, what have you done? You changed the future. You've created a time paradox.
Well, one of the things that you might notice there at the end when Tommy's beating Leo's ass is Leo's a bit drunk right there at the end, leaving him a bit defenseless in his current state, which leading up to this, there was really no indication, but I guess Leo has a bit of a drinking problem. And because we forgot to work all of the shifts he had during that mod and focused more on the drug trade, he ended up drinking himself into a stupor after his final shift, which pretty much made him defenseless when Tommy eventually shows up. But if we go back and finish all of the cooking side missions throughout the story, he ends up getting a bonus from this job and ends up drinking it all away at the pole position, making him wake up the next day at the hospital and giving up drinking entirely. Which I don't blame you, buddy.
Fuck this, I'm quitting drinking. What a fucking waste of a holiday.
Meaning when we finally go through the last mission again and interrupt the deal, Tommy will still come after us afterwards, but Leo's not going to be drunk this time, allowing us to beat Tommy to death in the same alleyway. He also takes out Lance, who is hanging out nearby, and then eventually goes over and blows up Eugene as well. With all of these loose ends cleared up, he decides to head back home and fly back to Italy, leaving Vice City to never have taken place to begin with. I think it's awesome to include something like this, if you ask me. Like, we get to see the events leading up to Vice City, but also get a what-if situation if we play our cards right and do our job. But if we keep focusing on the drug trade itself, Leo's fate ends up the way that we know it, and the story continues through Tommy at Vice City. But having some way of having an alternate ending in a GTA mod should be something that a lot of these mod authors strive for. Because not only is it a fun, tongue-in-cheek way to end the experience, but it also allows them to do a bit more with a sequel if they choose to do one. Or hell, we'll see if Shark's Vengeance ends up going with this ending. Overall, GTA Leo's story is a worthy addition to the series of mods that add even more depth to the Grand Theft Auto franchise. And while many mods out there seem to break their ankle when trying to nail the landing on a mod like this, Nocturne Team was able to bring together a short yet engaging DLC-like experience to Vice City, while not allowing itself to go overboard with anything too ambitious, by not adding in really any new mechanics, but it still feels like a natural extension of the base game, and gives a bit more insight into Vice City before Tommy ever showed up. It honestly made me excited to see what else Nocturne Team has down their sleeve with their next mod, Shark's Vengeance, as that mod has been in development for quite some time, even before Leo Teal's story came around. And that short tease at the end, on top of Diaz's heads up to Pedro on their plan to hit the Sharks, I'm interested to see where things go. I think the writing of this mod was good enough to stand on its own, and the mission design was pretty good, so hopefully we get to see another quality experience from the team with their next project. So kudos to Nocturne Team on this one. But what do you think? Have you played Leo Teal's story yet? And if so, what did you think of the mod? Let me know in the comments down below. And if there's any other mods that you'd want to see for GTA or any other game franchise, let me know in the comments below because I'm more than likely down to see it. If you liked the video, please drop a like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of this content covered in the future, and also give me a follow on my other socials or even join up in the Discord. Anyways, that is all from me. I hope you all had a fantastic day, or at least a better one tomorrow, and stay safe out there. BladeO out.